art friends, it's Mrs. Price here. I just wanted to come and pop back on with a second part of our lavender fields tutorial to give you a hint with that. I'm going to review a little bit of the first part in this video and then we'll jump right into the color. And I hope by now you've been able to take a chance, our little virtual vacation to the provincial lavender fields. And again, today's focus is going to be all about adding our color, and we're going to use a technique called pointillism. So hopefully you've been able to see the quick video that gives you a little history about that, and we will talk a little bit about that as we work. So a couple things I want to mention before we get started. There's a couple options here. I'm going to show you a painting technique, but you are welcome to use markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever you have. But the main color we need for today, aside from the background, our main focus color for the fields themselves will be purple. So in addition to your regular colors, again, I would try and see if you could find different shades of purple in whatever type of medium you have. So that means like the tools that you'll use. So I'll show paint first, but some other techniques so you just know that you don't have to use paint. If you don't have it, you can use whatever you have on hand, okay? So I just want to make sure everyone knows that. So the first thing I want to do is just quickly review what we worked on in our part 1, and you're certainly welcome to look back at that video, but this is just a quick going back over. So this is a sample of what your page might look like. And then over here, we decided, I mentioned that this space will be sunlight, okay? So as you can see which colors we'll focus on there. These are your mountains and your dark shadows, and then this over here is your background, your sky, okay? And then we'll focus on today how we're going to add that in. So you'll see I got started a little bit because I wanted it to dry so it will be a little darker so you can see it better on camera. But I wanted to chat a little bit about how we're going to create the backgrounds. So as you can see here, I laid out our yellows, our oranges, and then I made kind of a circular sun shape in the middle. Now you can go and blend over all this with your finger, okay? Especially if you're using crayon. Another technique is you can kind of gently erase, and that will also blend everything together, okay? Over here, because we're focusing on sky, I did our blues, and then there was that little tree in the center, so I added in some green for that. Then in the center, towards the horizon line, we went ahead and we wanted some dark shadows, so some grays, some blues for the mountains and the shadow itself. Now, in between the lines where the V's are, we want to kind of lay down. Mine is a little bit of a yellowish brown or yellowish tan. And what I recommend is like a light brown or a light tan to be that dirt. I'm probably going to actually layer over mine in a brown as well, because I like that a little better. Now, what I started here, I wanted to show you, is I actually used a Q-tip, okay? And I did happen to, I bought some paint for my daughter. So I did have some paint on hand for this, and I just happened to be able to use it. But again, it's not required, but I just did want to show you this technique because even if you're not able to do it right now, at some point you may be able to, you know, have some paint on hand. So let's just show you. So this is just a really simple pointillism technique where we're using this dot effect, right? Or these little circles to create the shape and effect of our lavender. Okay, so I'm just going over. I'm not layering it too much to begin with because I want to take up space, and then you can just go back in again and again, okay? And again, I'm just using a Q-tip and just some simple paint that I got, you know, at the pharmacy. Like it was just simple paint. It's not anything special. All right, so the other thing that you can do, which you see is pretty similar, is I just took a marker, actually a thin one, okay? Thicker ones work best, but this is we don't really have any thick markers actually right now. So we're just using a thin one. And what I did was I made a circular shape to kind of give the same effect as the dabbing with the Q-tip. So just make a little circle shape. You can make them even a little bit bigger than I did, but that's just a start. And then what you can do is you can take another shade of purple. Okay. In my case, I didn't find another purple marker, but I did find a purplish colored pencil. And then I started making circles with that color. Okay. And I'm just going to continue doing that all down the side. Now you can also continue this process with, like I mentioned, crayons if you have, but the key is to try and find different shades of purple if you have them. That's going to add a lot of interest into your painting, okay? Or your background of your drawing, okay? Whichever medium you're using. So again, you want to fill up all of these spaces, going down and down and down as much as you can. And like I mentioned, I'm going to go back over with a little bit more of a brown color to go over my little dirt patches over here. So I want to find my brown color and I want to just shade that in. The first one I grabbed was a Crayon or an oil pastel, and that was a little too yellow for me. So I'm going to actually shade back over this with a brown. And that's actually going to kind of create the effect that I wanted, because I did want to blend colors, so that will be okay. So I'm just going to keep coloring this with my brownish shade. And because it's colored pencil, it's going to turn out pretty light anyway. So again, if you want to keep going, you're just going to fill up all of your spaces here. And then if you wanted to, you can see where, right here I have an open patch. I'll probably go back in and fill in a little more there, but this is a way to get started. So I hope that this tutorial helps you finish up your artwork, and I cannot wait to see how your final painting or drawing, whichever you have, turns out. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.